What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. And today, people, we are previewing tomorrow's Champions League game for Arsenal. I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain... I'll stop there, people, but you get it. We are back, Champions League, baby. No more Thursday nights. We can watch EastEnders, Phil Mitchell settings. No more rubbish games at 5 o'clock against Bodo Glimt. We are back. These are the champions. Yes, come on. Back where we belong, people, as we play PSV tomorrow. Cannot wait for that watch along. And let's hope we go 3-point collecting in that. Arteta's thrown things up in the air because I checked earlier today and it said that the press conference was at 3 p.m. And he started the press conference about 15 minutes ago. In fact, it's only just finished, apparently. So press conference reaction will be towards the end of the show because they do take around 40 minutes to put it up on the website. So we will get that. But a Champions League, it's not just a Champions League preview. We are going to touch on a few other things as well. And I hope everyone's well. My aim is to do at least maybe 1 or 2 shows a week at 4 o'clock. Usually 2 o'clock, but twice a week possibly we're going to go for 4 o'clock because I want the show to be, easier for more people to access in different parts of the world as well. So a couple of shows a week at 4 and the other 3 will be at 2. And maybe an evening show at the weekend as well. So listen, big up to everyone locked in. Hope you're well. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. I cannot wait for tomorrow night's game. Listen, we've played PSV in the Europa League, so it's not like it's the PSV factor, no disrespect to them. It's just the game. It's the fact it's on a Wednesday night, the music. It's going to be epic. It's going to be absolutely epic. I can't wait for it. And let's hope we win that game. We need to do well in this competition as well. Big up Jay Black, who said, I don't miss any stream. Anytime, I will be there. Big up. You know, a few people have messaged me before and said, look, I live in America. I can't watch the stream at 2. Some people in England, they're at work. They can't watch it. So I just want it to be accessible for everybody if possible. 11 a.m. in America is no problem. Big up to Dr. Bird. Boss J, big up Big C in the community. We are back. You've been capping about the weekend late show. All right, we're going to get it in this weekend. Watch. Saturday night, we're live. Quote me on that one. Listen, let's get into today's show, people. No more waffling from me. Lots to talk about. We'll look ahead to the Champions League game. We'll do a bit of investigating into our opponents tomorrow. Bit of transfer news as well. There'll be some press conference reaction towards the end of the show. Mikel Arteta finished his press conference about 10 minutes ago. It was later than expected, so all of the quotes won't be on the Arsenal website yet. Zach said, love catching these 4 p.m. streams. Just got in from work. Big up to you. Listen, a little, you know me, information and entertainment. So we'll start off with a little bit of entertainment before we start with the information. I wanted to know what you guys thought about this. Now, me, I'm kind of relaxed about it. Doesn't bother me that much. Modern day football, blah, blah, blah. But I would imagine Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira, maybe they're sitting somewhere going, what the hell is this? Let me just show you the picture anyway. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. But yesterday, London Fashion Week. For those of you who are listening in and don't have the picture on your screen, Bukayo Saka and Heung-min Son, yeah, I'm saying that right, people. Saka and Son sat side by side at the Burberry London Fashion Week. North London derby on Saturday, one of the biggest games of the season. Arch rivals sitting next to each other. I'm going to be honest. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me, to be honest. Modern game. I think a story came out that... David De Gea and Sergio Aguero were best friends whilst playing for different Manchester clubs. They used to, they finish training and go and meet each other. It does it mean that much in the modern game? But there are some people, traditionalists, who say, we're going to war. You shouldn't be doing this. I'm calm about it. It's not that deep. They were at a fashion event. Naturally, the photographers knew that this would create headlines. putting an Arsenal and a Tottenham player next to each other. The jacket's decent that Saka's got on, to be fair. And yeah, it's listen, I mean, John saying after the game. John said, didn't Ray Parlour and Gaza go out after the game? Echo said, what the F is this picture? Son has zero swag. Saka looked sick in that jacket, said Rio. Evra and Tevez were good friends. Obviously, they were at United together, though, weren't they? But listen, what do you guys think about this? Like I said, I'm not going to talk about it for too long. To me, it doesn't mean a lot. They didn't arrive together. I don't think they were particularly speaking that much. In fact, later on in the night, I think Saka was sitting next to Eze, who was there as well. But definitely got people conversating and talking. I think more the traditionalists, the slightly older fan base, were a little bit like North London derby on Sunday and you man are sitting next to each other at a Burberry shoot. I don't know. Modern game, though. Modern game, people. I always say, don't think that because players play for rival clubs, they don't like each other. A lot of these guys are good friends. You know, they talk to each other. Their kids probably go to similar schools, some of these players as well. So, for me, not the end of the world. If you see him on Sunday on the pitch, kick him down. Simple as that. So, yeah, for me, not that deep. No problem. But online, it definitely had a lot of people talking. I have to say, like I said, they weren't actually sitting together during the show. As they got there, the photographer was like, go together so I can take a picture. They knew it was going to create headlines. So it is what it is. Yeah, no Calvert-Lewin. Maybe Calvert-Lewin was on the catwalk. You never know. But, hey, Son and Saka. Times have changed, eh? Times have changed. As John said, I think, yeah, there was a story about Gaza and Ray Parlour going for drinks one time when they were at Tottenham and Arsenal, but it was after the game. But anyway, it is what it is. Modern game, people, it's a lot different. Social media, fashion events, PR events, agents will send them to events as well. It is what it is. It's the modern game. Big up Alexander, big up Curtis from Serbia. Why do we keep clean sheets only away from the Emirates? Really don't get it. My thought process is, I think at the Emirates, we're expected to dominate. We're expected to attack and score goals and, you know, play on the front foot, which I think in turn leaves us a little bit more exposed at the back. We seem to get caught on the counter-attack and concede goals at home. Away from home, I think once we go 1 or 2-0 up, it's like, yo, shut up shop, defend, make sure you look after the lead. And I think away from home, we're a lot better defensively. So big up Alexander. Yeah, they could have the same sponsors. It is what it is. Like I said, to me, not that deep. I don't really have a problem with it. What I expect is if you're in a 50-50 with him on Sunday, you kick the brother down. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm interested in. These men can go to as many fashion events as they want. When you see him on the pitch, let him know what time it is. It ain't Burberry London Fashion Week. So, yeah, we move on from that one, people. But definitely interesting. Can it be a little early on Saturday, bro? It's Zhang v Joyce. Yeah, I'll be watching that fight as well. I don't know what time that fight is, actually. They're both in an advert together, and this is what I mean. These guys, they know each other. Some of them will have the same management companies, same sponsorship deals, same boot deals. It's one of them. Yardman style, no problem. Only Sunday matters. That's it. No problem for me at all. Big up Patrick. He said, big up Curtis and C Unit. Can I get a special shout out to my new wife if possible? We got married last week. Congrats to you, Patrick. And the missus. Hope you're well. Hope you're on the honeymoon, enjoying yourself. They run in the same circle. Yeah, listen, they both probably live in the same area of North London. You know, that's what a lot of people have to understand. They both play for clubs in the same area. They probably live close to each other. So, anyway, it is what it is. Let's talk transfers. Little bit of transfer news, people, before we look ahead to the Champions League tomorrow. And more stories doing the rounds on man like Ivan Toney. Thomas Frank, the Brentford manager, who, by the way, I think is a fantastic manager. I really do. I think he's done a brilliant job there. He was on Monday Night Football last night. Obviously, Nottingham Forest drew with Burnley. Hudson-Odoi scored a great goal, actually. And Thomas Frank was talking after the game to Jamie Carragher, and he was talking about David Raya, saying that, look, David Raya is the only big player that they've lost in recent times. Obviously, he mentioned Ericsson, but he was saying David Raya, that one will probably become a permanent 27 million. He was also then asked about Ivan Toney, and he was quite open, and he said, look, Ivan Toney is a player that, you know, he's going to reach a point where he has to move on. And he was saying, look, he thinks he's one of the best number 9s in Europe. He's very composed. He said he has an elite mentality. And he basically said, if somebody puts the right amount of money on the table, they won't be able to stand in his way. He's 27 years of age. There is a mutual understanding that he wants to play for one of the top clubs in this country. And look, 21 goals last season for Brentford. The sort of feeling was, if he can score 21 for Brentford, who don't notably create a huge amount of chances, what could he do for an Arsenal or for another major club? We are one of the clubs that create the most chances, although we haven't this season. So that was the first part of the story that was very interesting, with the manager basically saying, you know, Bruce Forsyth, the price is right. If you pay enough money, he's yours. And then John Cross, who you never know with John Cross how true these stories are. You know, this is Mr. War Chest. And I know for a fact, since Arsene Wenger has left, he is not the plug of Arsenal anymore. It's definitely Ornstein. But John Cross put a story in the Mirror today, which I thought was very interesting, saying that Arsenal would have almost certainly made a bid for Ivan Toney last summer had he not been banned. Toney has admirers at Arsenal, but Chelsea and Tottenham are also likely to be in the mix. Brentford will demand at least £60 million. Now, it's very interesting. I mean, John Cross saying that Arsenal are massive admirers of the player, despite the fact that, you know, he's been banned, despite the fact he kind of trolled Arsenal a little bit online. Apparently, they're huge admirers of his quality. 60 million to me seems a little bit low. I know he only has 18 months left on his contract in the January window. So you get to a year left. Brentford would have to sell him in the summer. But listen, I would be trying to get him in January. Somebody like him could really transform our season. He'd be able to play in the Champions League. I don't think he would cost 60 million. I think he'd be more. But maybe the fact that he'd only have 18 months left, it doesn't sound like he wants to sign a new deal. Maybe you could get him for 60, 65 million. So, listen, it'll be interesting if Arsenal will go for him now. Listen, Chelsea need a striker. That Jackson brother up front is awful from what I've seen of him so far. Like I said the other day, you'd be better off getting Michael Jackson, rest in peace, or Jermaine Jackson, to be honest. Even Janet Jackson would have probably finished a couple of those chances, you know what I mean? So they're looking for a striker. We know they got cash on the hip. And Tottenham, of course, sold Kane, and they need a striker as well. 60 plus Eddie. I mean, that to me would make sense. Eddie's an England international now, 24 years of age. I think they'd take him as well. That for me would be an absolute no-brainer. But if it makes sense, Arsenal probably won't do it. So you never know. But yeah, I would expect a bidding war to happen. Chelsea need a striker. I'm sure they'll look at him. Tottenham need a striker as well. So it may start the bidding at 60, but I think it ends up being 70, 80 million by the time you get him out of there. But very interesting that John Cross is of the belief that Arsenal would have gone in for him this summer. Maybe we wouldn't have signed Kai Havertz possibly if we'd have got Ivan Toney. Who knows? But that ban has definitely delayed him. Ben said, what's your say on Antonio saying he believes West Ham will finish above Liverpool? I would say stop drinking. That's what I would say. There's absolutely no way on earth, unless Liverpool get docked points or something. There's no way West Ham finish above Liverpool this season. That's what I would say to Mikel Antonio. But I respect the confidence. It is what it is. 80 million plus Havertz and some gummy bears. According to reports, Brentford have negotiated. They want the 80 million and they want the gummy bears. We'll move on from that one. Information and entertainment. You've got an agenda. Give him time to settle in. I hear what you're saying. Surely Chelsea can't agree terms if he's saying he wants to play in the Champions League. Money talks. Dirty cash, I want you. Dirty cash, I need you more. Money talks, my friend. Money talks. The man earns 80 grand a week. When Chelsea turn up with 200 grand a week, Champions League ain't as important, is it, my friend? You know what I mean? You can turn that Range Rover into a Lamborghini Urus. You know, things change real quick when money's on the table. So, yeah, I wouldn't get too caught up in Champions League football. I remember Caicedo, I want to play in the Champions League. Next minute, he's holding up a Chelsea shirt. You know, it means very little. Nowadays, you know, maybe the top players, but money talks. We know money talks as well. All I would say, get Ivan Toney to the carpet. He needs the cash for more bets, says Jorge. I mean, it was there. It was in the back of my mind. You know, I was like, do I do a betting joke? You know, but we're being linked with him. I don't want to run up a betting agenda. I mean, it's crazy that the sponsor of Brentford is Hollywood Bets. It's kind of ironic, really, isn't it, that they've got a betting sponsor on their shirt and he ends up with a gambling addiction. I mean, it's not really rocket science, is it? It's like putting an alcoholic in the pub. It's probably not going to end too well, is it? So, anyway, let's move on before I get in trouble, people. Information and entertainment, bear with me. The good news is, though, we are back in the Champions League. This green screen, I can smell it. It smells good, people. It smells good. No more Thursday nights. Oh. There's just no excitement when you hear that. Like, I thought it was, you know, the team comes on and you're like, oh, Bodo Glimt. You know, I'm sitting here for the watch along like, they're playing on AstroTurf in front of 4,000 people. It's wild. Like, we're playing PSV, it's Champions League, it's prestige, it's Wednesday night. You don't need to do anything on a Thursday anymore. You can chill, relax. It's beautiful. It's where we're meant to be. The one thing, Arsenal, don't end up finishing third in the group and dumping us back into the Europa League. None of us have got the patience for that, I'm telling you. Marcel said, big up Curtis, enjoy them Champions League nights, my guy. Thursday night settings for us. Listen, the one good thing with Liverpool won the Champions League a couple years ago. So I'm sure Liverpool can have that patience that, okay, it's one bad year. And also on the flip side, Liverpool probably end up winning the Europa League. We went in the Europa League for 5 years and didn't even win it. You know, that's what's even more stupid about it. We went into a substandard competition and didn't even win the damn thing. Bleck said, I can smell the music. It smells beautiful, my friend. That is the music. That's the sound. The Wednesday night. I just wanted to say, people, by the way, friend of mine this morning messaged me about tickets. And listen, I always say, because a lot of people message me, can you get tickets? I'm not a guy to get tickets. But a friend of mine, he went on the website about 3 hours ago and he managed to get 2 tickets on the website. So it looks as if anybody who is looking for a ticket, if you're in the UK or you're coming over, it seems as if there are quite a few tickets on the website. So if anybody is looking for a ticket, get on the website, have a look. It seems like they're knocking about. I think he only paid about £50 per ticket. So I think with it being late night, midweek, you know, a lot of people aren't able to go. So that there are a lot of tickets, I believe, on the ticket exchange. Who's likely to get sacked first, Poch or Ten Hag? That's an interesting one. I mean, I think United will be more reluctant to sack Ten Hag because if you're looking to sell the club, you don't want to have to sack a manager and pay him off and then bring a new one in. He's going to want to change things. You know, it's crazy. So, but Ten Hag's not looking very good. I think Ten Hag is starting to create a bit of a circus at Man United. You do need to be strong, and he has been strong. Ronaldo went, Harry Maguire got stripped to the armband, Sancho. But you've also got to understand, that can put other players, you know, nose out of joint. Rashford is good friends with Sancho. The manager sees you doing that to his good friend, he might start acting different. Then this rumour's coming out that, Ten Hag's agent, basically, United have been signing players who Ten Hag's agent manages, which goes off a lot in football, by the way. And listen, I'm not making any accusations to Ten Hag, but I got two words, people, and the second one's envelopes. First one's brown. These sort of deals happen, people, at times, Sign a player that your agent manages. You get this in your back pocket. The agent gets that in his back pocket. Everyone's a winner, people. So, you know what? I think Ten Hag is starting to lose the faith of that Man United fan base a little bit. But let me not worry about them. By the way, E. Ross has got a ticket for sale. Sheffield United at home, £1,000. Listen, for £1,000, you should have like a whole row of tickets. You should have 15 tickets for £1,000. I told you about that English tax, didn't I, Eros? You never listened to me, bro. People saying the Arsenal website is down at the moment, so maybe a lot of people are buying tickets. Trixie said, "Bun all that Toney talk. I want Osimhen for 150 million." Listen, I'm with you on that. I would love Osimhen, but do you think Arsenal drop that kind of money? I'm not sure. I hope they do, and we should be in the conversation. But Toney would be a much easier deal to get done. And I think we could get him in January, where I don't think you can get Osimhen probably until the summer. So a little bit more difficult to get done. Let's talk about Aaron Ramsdale, our new second choice goalkeeper possibly. Being linked with a move to Chelsea. According to Sammy Mockbell, Chelsea and Bayern Munich are keeping tabs on Aaron Ramsdale. That's according to Sammy Mockbell, who is usually pretty good. But I read the article, and it seems as if Chelsea are the potential front runners. Listen, it's one where a lot of us will sit there and go, no, we're not doing that. Why should we do Chelsea any favours? And I'm with you on that. I've said before, and I said it again. This situation is not sustainable for too long. Rambo sniffing that finger. I mean, it's not a great picture. I've done him a bit dirty. My apologies, Rambo. That picture does you no favours whatsoever. Moving like that old German manager. Anyway, let's not talk about him. You know, yeah, you know what I mean. Anyway, Aaron Ramsdale being linked with a move to Chelsea. Now, we all know that it's not sustainable to keep this situation going for a long time. People can say whatever they want about squad depth. Yeah, I hear that. It doesn't work when it comes to goalkeepers. Two quality goalkeepers will not accept rotation. It doesn't help them. It doesn't enable them usually to become first choice goalkeepers for their country at the moment. Pickford is number one for England, and David Raya, I believe, is third choice goalkeeper for Spain. They both need to start on a regular basis. Now, ultimately, most of us would say, don't do Chelsea any favours. Why would we? And I totally agree. But I think by the end of this season, one of these two keepers, more than likely, Aaron Ramsdale, will be keeping his options open because it's a Euros. You need to play first team football. He's helped get us into the Champions League. And I've said before, and I've said it again, David Raya ends up becoming number one goalkeeper. I could be totally wrong. Fleabeard saying, the Rambo slander is mad. For me, listen, I want to make one thing clear. I don't have a favourite in this race. There's nobody there that I look at and go, oh, I want him or I want it. I'm not bothered. Whoever the better goalkeeper is, I want them to be number one. I have no horse in this race, right? But what I'm saying is the one that doesn't win the race, I think will end up wanting to leave because no goalkeeper of these two goalkeepers' quality level is going to want to be a number two goalkeeper who gets rotated. It's just not going to happen. Now, I think David Raya becomes a permanent in the summer, 27 million. And I think Ramsdale then will be open to leaving. And listen, could be totally wrong. I could have this completely wrong, and he's willing to be patient and give it another season and try and fight for his place back. Listen, even if Ramsdale steps his game up and gets his place back, we win in that situation. Whoever ends up being number one, we win. So, but apparently Chelsea would be willing to pay around £50 million to sign Aaron Ramsdale as they seek another goalkeeper to add competition to Sanchez, who they bought from Brighton. Now, I'm not even going to put a poll up for this one, but would you sell Aaron Ramsdale to Chelsea for £50 million? Bear in mind we paid £30 million for him. Would you sell him for £50 million? That's a lot of money for potentially somebody who could, I'm not saying he is, could become a second choice goalkeeper. The sadness of this situation is that Ramsdale would go to Chelsea from his point of view. That would still be a good move for him if he decided to leave Arsenal. Let me get one thing clear. I don't want Ramsdale to leave. I hope he stays and fights and the best goalkeeper wins. But if he gets in a situation where he feels he has to go, he would probably be willing to go to Chelsea. Chelsea pay big money. You stay in London. They might be back in Europe next year. I think Arsenal would take 50 million for him. You've got to remember, 50 million would make Aaron Ramsdale the record sale in the history of Arsenal Football Club. We've never made £50 million for any player in the history of the club. Our record is Oxlade-Chamberlain and Iwobi and Mark Overmars. So we're not exactly a great club at selling. And also Balogun wants the add-ons, get it to 40 million. And yeah, it's just an interesting situation. Listen, I hope we don't get into this situation, but I feel like we will eventually, unfortunately, get into a situation where one of them want to leave. And with Raya coming in, I kind of expect him to be. Who will play tomorrow is another interesting one. Ramsdale was dropped on the weekend. I would think that Ramsdale would probably play tomorrow as a sort of, okay, you got us into the Champions League. You play the first Champions League game. I almost think he deserves that, considering he helped us to get there. Or does he just continue with David Raya? It's going to be a constant merry-go-round of who's going to play, who plays this game, who then plays the North London Derby on the weekend. Then you've got the Carabao Cup next weekend. Who plays that? It's going to be crazy. Or next midweek. So I think Ramsdale may play tomorrow. A lot of you saying we want at least 60, 65 million for Ramsdale. 70 million, says Bosch J. Listen, we know that Chelsea overpay. Yes, sell him 50 million and they take Havertz back 50 million plus 10 in add-ons. And Nimbo says no, not to Chelsea. The problem you've always got when you're selling a good player, good players want to go to good clubs. Sometimes you end up selling them to a rival or a potential rival, because Ramsdale's not going to go to he's not going to go to Bournemouth. You know, he's an England international in his mid-20s playing for Arsenal. So if he leaves, he's going to go to a good team. Sell him to Bayern Munich. Go and be Manuel Neuer's replacement, if anything. I wouldn't do Chelsea any favours. They've just sold us Kai Havertz for £65 million. I'd say they owe us a favour. That is for sure. But Arsenal, for some reason, have this nice little cosy relationship with Chelsea that I have no idea where it came from. You know, we buy their players who aren't very good. And, your Willians and your Peter Cechs and your Yossi Benayoun's and your William Gallas. You know, how many times we've been bumped by Chelsea? And then to top it all off, you give us Kai Havertz. I think they owe us one. If you're going to buy Ramsdale, give us 70, 80 million. But, hey, it wouldn't surprise me if they got a £50 million offer. I think it would be interesting. But, listen, let's keep him. We definitely shouldn't have to consider anything like that this season anyway. It's a one-way relationship. We give them quality and they give us Drake. I thought you said Drake then. We never stop doing any business with Chelsea. We need to stop doing business with Chelsea. It never works. Let me get this picture off, because I'm not doing Aaron Ramsdale any favours with that picture. So my apologies, Rambo, because I know a lot of these Arsenal players watch a lot of content. You know, they definitely watch a lot of content, people. So I've definitely done him dirty there, that's for sure. Anyway, let's look ahead a little bit, people. Champions League starts tonight, actually. Newcastle. Here, Newcastle. Newcastle United back in the Champions League. If you're a bit old school like me as well, I remember Newcastle, man, with Aspria in the Champions League doing that cartwheel celebration back in the day. They play AC Milan tonight, which is a great game for them, really. AC Milan in the San Siro. Very difficult group for them, but one they'll be excited about, I'm sure. But obviously, we're back in action tomorrow night against PSV Eindhoven, who are an interesting team, a team that we've seen before, a team that we've played against in the Europa League, and a team. Look, we've got to be careful. So I thought I'd do a little bit of insight. Oh, AC Milan lost 5-1 to Inter. I didn't even know that. I thought I'd do a little bit of insight into PSV and who we're actually up against and what we've got to contain. PSV won 4-0 at the weekend. Just to put it into perspective, PSV are top of the league. They've won 4 games out of 4 in the Dutch league. This is their side that played on the weekend. Now, to put things into context of PSV, they are, I would say they're weaker than they were last season. Some of the names you'll recognise from this team, some of you may recognise all of them, but the main ones, Sergio Dest, the right back who was at AC Milan and Barcelona, American international. Patrick Van Aanholt, who I honestly didn't know was still playing football. Played for Crystal Palace, it seems like years ago. That brother's still playing. And Bella Kochup, who I famously called Bottle of Ketchup, who played for Southampton last year. He's over there as well. And the other one you'll probably recognise is Luke de Jong, former Newcastle striker, who also played against us in the Europa League last year. On the bench, they've got a bit of a FIFA legend for my FIFA players, and that is Lozano, the right winger. They've re-signed him from Napoli. Now, the interesting thing about PSV, their team is a lot weaker than the team that they had last season. Ruud van Nistelrooy was their manager last season. Xavi saying pay close attention to Veerman, who's a very good player for them. We'll keep an eye on him. Noah Lang is a player that we were linked with at one stage as well. As Toria said, yeah, we were linked with him, so we'll keep an eye on him. But a few of their players that they've lost from last season. Xavi Simons, who obviously rejoined PSG, they had a buyback clause. They signed him back and loaned him out to Leipzig. Simmons ripped us apart in the away leg last season. I think he's an absolute wonder kid of a player. Somebody that I actually think we should have probably tried to sign, to be honest. And so we... Listen, he's not there. Cody Gakpo is not there anymore. He obviously went to Liverpool. Sangare has left as well. He went to Forest. I saw a bit of him last night for Forest. He didn't actually look that good for Forest, but he was a good player for them. And Madueke was there as well, the winger, who obviously went to Chelsea. So 4 of their best players have left the club from last season. But obviously, you know, with clubs like this, they've got a very good habit of bringing in different players. A lot of you here saying, keep your eye on Bakayoko, very lively. Noah Lang as well, Veerman. So listen, I'm sure they've got players there that will cause us problems. And as I said, they're top of the league at the moment in the Dutch league. 4 wins out of 4. We played them twice last year. In the Europa League, and obviously we won one and lost one. We got battered in that second game. They absolutely hammered us. We beat them 1-0 at home in the Europa League. Granit Xhaka scored, but in the away game, Veerman scored in that game, and De Jong scored in that game as well. It was a bit of a Xavi Simons masterclass that day. Simons played up front. Gakpo was out wide. They had El Ghazi as well. I'm not sure if he's still there. And Bramthwaite, who actually played against us at the weekend for Everton at centre-back. So they've lost a number of players from last season, but we can't take them for granted. This is a team as well that, you know, this is not the Europa League. These are established, experienced teams that qualify for Europe every year. that know how to manage games, that have experience, and they won't be no walkovers, which is why I said when we got this Champions League group, even though I think we should qualify from it, it's not as easy, in my opinion, as people think, because there's no walkovers. I look at that Manchester City group, I think that is light work. That is a light work group. I don't think this is as easy as people think. You've still got to handle business, especially when you go away from home to these teams as well. So, going to be interesting. They've obviously Van Nistelrooy left. They've got a new manager in now, and they've started the season really well. So it'll be interesting how that one goes. I'm not worried. We got Kai Havertz. Well, let's see if he plays. LSU Gunner, big up from Houston to the community. Late but live today. The work thing is getting in the way. No worries, bro. You got to do what you got to do. South London's finest. Their new manager is very attacking. Their wingers are dangerous. Got to go full strength, 100%. There's no way we can be playing a weak team. Forget the North London derby. We deal with that afterwards. This is a team that we've got to beat. What I do think is we can damage their defence is where I think we can hurt them. Van Arnold, and Dest. I don't think Dest is a particularly great fullback. And their centre-back, I think they can be got at. But their wingers are live-wise. Lang and Bakayoko definitely are lively. And, Bakayoko was being linked with some big clubs. And Zinchenko, as much as I think he's a fantastic player on the ball, any pacey winger, I think you would always look at Zinchenko and think, I can cause him problems. So, make no mistake, it's not a walkover. We need to start this group well. And hopefully come through it injury-free, obviously, with the North London derby at the weekend. We haven't heard anything as yet about Martinelli. Press conference has just been put on the website, so we're going to go into that shortly, people, and see what Arteta, maybe he said something in the press conference regarding Gabriel Martinelli's injury. Just looking ahead, obviously, we play PSV tomorrow, Tottenham on Sunday, Brentford next Wednesday in the Carabao Cup. We then play Bournemouth that weekend in the league, and then Lens away in the Champions League, and then Manchester City at home before the international break. Chelsea after the international break. So, anyway, it's that time, people. Let's get into the press conference. It is here. It is that time. The Champions League is back. The Champions League, people. It looks great. I can't lie. It looks great on the background. I might actually start using that background for press conference reaction in the Champions League. The Champions League, sponsored by Heineken, official sponsors of this year's Champions League. These are the champions. Da, da, da. We've waited so long. I can't wait for tomorrow night, people. It's going to be epic. As long as we don't lose, by the way. If we lose, I'm having an absolute meltdown. It's that time, people. Coleman music. Mickey Rose, the boss. Rose, that's my nickname. He's here, people. He looks shocked. He can't believe it himself. He's like, what the hell am I doing here? Gatorade on the thing, on the screen. It's all mad. We are back in the Champions League. Stand up if you hate Tottenham. We'll do it quick. It's North London derby week. I'm not sitting next to Son like Saka was at London Fashion Week. Yeah, drink responsibly, by the way. We ain't promoting no alcohol, of course. If Elliot's in here, I'm sure there'll be a message, yamming waffles, sipping syrup, ready for that Coleman music and all that business. But anyway, let's get into the waffle settings. If it's no good, we're skipping it. You know how it goes, people. Somebody said in the comments, if you do press conference reaction, why do you skip it? That's all part of it. Waffle settings, people. We're not like other channels. You know how we do this, people. Franklin said the Europa League theme is better. I missed the... No, never is it better. The Champions League anthem is like, being in the opera. It's like Pavarotti. It does the with all the champions. Them high notes, you don't get that. No. It's too easy, man. There's no way the Europa League. That's Stockholm Syndrome, man. I'm telling you, they've held you hostage for so long. you're starting to believe it's good. It's nowhere near. The Europa League, shocking. I'm actually tempted to give you a timeout so that you can spend 3 minutes listening to the Champions League song. Franklin, sort it out, my friend. Europa League song is terrible compared to that. There's no need for a poll, FF. Champions League is elite. The song's elite. It's real heritage. Heritage, people. Right, let's get into the waffle. Arteta looks shell-shocked. He can't believe we're playing on a Wednesday night. I get it. It's emotional. Right, let's hear what he had to say. How he feels ahead of his first Champions League game as manager. Proud and excited. It's been a long time for the club since we've been in the competition. Obviously, it's the first time as a manager. I'm looking forward to it. And whether that's the same for the players, he said, we've been chasing it and fighting for it now. We've got it. We have to make the most of it. It starts at home. I'm sure our supporters are going to be really excited. It's about managing that and enjoying the challenge. On Martinelli's injury, he said he felt something in his hamstring. We need to do further tests to assess if there is any big damage or not. But he will be out for tomorrow's game. That's for sure. I think we all knew he would be out tomorrow. On whether he'll be fit for the Tottenham game, he said, it's a possibility, but we don't know yet. We need some more tests and to see what happens. So there is the update on Gabriel Martinelli. In my opinion, I'll be shocked if Martinelli plays against Tottenham, unless it was a slight twinge and it wasn't a real injury. If he has pulled any of that, he'll be out for at least, I would say, 2 weeks, even if it's a minor one. So I don't think you'll see Martinelli in the North London derby, but we'll see. They're having further tests, which is never a good sign either. We'll see. We'll see. In my mind, I'm just writing him off for the next few weeks, and if he comes back any sooner, then it's a bonus. Nyamin Waffle, sipping syrup, dining in the Champions League cabin with that Coman music. All aboard! We're on the Champions League train, people. We could end up back in the Europa League with the old song. Nah. We can't do it. We got to make it happen. We got to stay in this competition till the end, hopefully. On whether he'll say who will start in goal, as he usually doesn't divulge team news, he said it's the same answer. On if he is confident of progressing from the group, he said that's what we want to do. This is football. Tomorrow we're going to play against a really good team. They haven't lost a game this season. They have won the majority of them, and they are used to winning like every team that is in the Champions League. It will be a tough test. On the importance of senior players who have played in the competition before, he said it's great to have a mixture and the excitement it creates playing for the first time. On if he was surprised by the reaction of his goalkeeping switch on Sunday, he says no, because I respect opinions and I understand the questions and historically what it means. For me, there is no difference. We've been doing it for many years. When Bernd Leno was here, we brought Aaron, and I don't see any differences, but it's my job. I have to answer the questions in the best and most honest way. And as a manager, I do what I feel is best for the team. Big up, built different. I will get to you. I'll get back to you with the email, bro. We'll check that. We're going to be playing El Neni and Cedric. Nah, we can't, man. Leave them. Don't even play them in the Carabao Cup. I actually wouldn't mind winning that. On the importance of our supporters, he said, we will see tomorrow night, but it will be an incredible atmosphere and they will create a special night. I've played in a few of them with the club and I have beautiful memories. So we're waiting for it. Believe it or not, the only Arsenal player at the club that played in the Champions League for Arsenal the last time we were in it, Mohamed El Neni in 2017 against Bayern Munich when we got slapped 5-1 in the Allianz. My first question would be, how on earth has Mohamed El Neni survived another 6 years at this football club? That guy is, I'm telling you, he's the real Teflon Don. How is he still here? Smiles a lot, works hard in training, gets new contracts. He'll probably end up being a coach at Arsenal. That guy's never leaving. I'm telling you, he'll never leave. You would have never thought that El Neni would still be at the football club, would you? But hey, let's see. El Neni's, that 25-yarder against Barcelona. Good old days, eh? Although not so good old days. We were getting battered by most teams. On the role Odegaard had in rebuilding our process, he said he's our captain, really important player who has developed and evolved on this journey with us together over the few years. He's been instrumental in everything we've done, building the culture we wanted and recruiting the profile and players with the right specificity. There we go. Say that on on a late night. It's difficult to play the way we want to play, and obviously then the level that he has performed has been in a consistent way. On Mohamed Elneny being the only player who remains from our last Champions League campaign, he said he's still young though. He's in a good place. Of course he is. He's on about 60 grand a week at Arsenal. Obviously, it's been a while and it's been very significant injury. I think he's in the latter stages of that rehab. He's been training for almost 2 weeks with the team. He's in a good place. It's always great to have him around. Of course it is. He smiles a lot. He probably makes cups of tea. He probably brings players birthday presents. He's a good guy. He smiles. I'm not sure he's going to win us a Champions League, though, or win us much, really. On whether there will be nerves heading into the game, he said, we have to treat it like any other game. We're used to playing top opposition every week in the Prem. Tomorrow we're going to have to do it against a top side fighting against us. On the response from Aaron Ramsdale, he said, I don't want to talk about the response of every single player in the squad, whether they play or not. Ooh, a bit touchy there, aren't you, Mikel? A little bit touchy. Ooh, I don't want to speak about Ramsdale. Ooh, I don't want to respond to your silly question because you're putting me under pressure. And I don't know what I'm going to do with my goalkeepers. Ooh. Calm down, Mikel. Calmer. Relax. We have every right to ask a question. You know what I mean? This is what I'm saying. If you're going in the press conference, do what I did. Just ask him if we're signing Mbappe. There's no point asking him these questions. And big up my brother Jar Digger. Make sure you go and follow him. Nottingham's best grime hip-hop artist. Follow him on YouTube. That's my brother. He said Elneny statue. I mean, he said Elneny statue, so maybe don't follow him on YouTube. But he is joking, of course. Well, I hope you're joking anyway. Elneny plays like a statue, to be honest, so maybe you mean that. But big up my brother. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Ooh, feisty one you are, Mikel. Relax, man. You know what I mean? Get a drink and calm down. I don't want to talk about the response of every single player. He don't like this goalkeeper question, does he? It really annoys him a little bit. Mike said, you really don't like Arteta. I don't mind him. Just win us trophies. If you win us trophies, I'm more than happy to continue the Arteta journey. We can go to phase 550,000. If you don't win us trophies and we don't progress, P45 settings. I'm in the middle. Stuck in the middle with you. Do. Arteta to the left of me. Edu to the right. Here I am. I'm going way off topic anyway. But yeah, Mike's, I don't mind him. He's got decent haircut, to be honest. Good hairline for his age. Anyway, Elliot said, no talk, goalkeeper. The new diss track from Mikel, out now on Coman Music. Don't ask me no questions. Track 8 on the new mixtape called Formation 43 by Mikel Arteta, featuring Edu and David Raya. Don't ask me no questions about Ramsdale. Ramsdale diss track, produced by Dr. Dre, hosted by Kid. Anyway, let me get back to the serious stuff before you think I'm going crazy. I'm not going crazy. On Fabio Vieira starting at Everton, I mean, you know, he ain't too touchy about this one, is he? You know, he's not angry at this one. I've said many times that I hadn't played Fabio enough and he hadn't had enough room in the team with the competitions we played to participate more. Every day we see the talent he's got and what he can bring. I was really happy with his performance. Don't mind you asking him about Fabio, does he? But ask him about Rambo. You're going to get a real angry response, people. On juggling the Premier League and Champions League and keeping players happy. To be happy, they have to play. They have to feel important. They have to feel valued. They have to feel that we trust them. It's the only way to do it. I will try to do that in the best possible way, maximising them to get the best possible performance. He's got to juggle them, people. He's got to juggle them. Let me read these super chats. They've been here for a while, and a few of you asking if I've ignored them. I've got them saved. Nesta said, start, bench, drop. Walcott, Rosicky, Arshavin. That's a tough one. I'll be honest. I had a very indifferent Theo Walcott. How do I explain it? He was a player that really frustrated me at Arsenal. Scored a lot of goals and I respected him. He scored some big goals, but he used to wind me up. You know, a lot of times I'd go and watch and this guy's running the ball out of play. I think Prime Rosicky is the best player out of the three, if I'm being honest. Rosicky was a top player. When Arshavin first signed for us, I thought he was going to be a world beater. By the end of it, he was washed. I don't really know. He got 4 at Liverpool. I did like Arshavin, you know. But listen, I'm going to give Arteta, not Arteta, Arshavin. Walcott would be good off the bench because he was so quick. I didn't really like Theo Walcott, I got to be honest. But he would be good off the bench. Rosicky starts for me. I'll give Theo Walcott a bit of. He scored 100 goals for Arsenal, but I just didn't really like him as a player. He's not my kind of player. He's just quick with not much else. I did like Arshavin, you know. I'm going for Shavin. I'm going for Shavin. Just a better footballer in my opinion. Walcott number 3. It's probably disrespectful because he scored 100 goals for Arsenal. He was very quick. He's just not my kind of player. Wasn't very intelligent. I just don't like players like that. He used to wind me up. So I'm going Rosicky, Arshavin, Theo Walcott. Not everyone will agree, I'm sure. Keros said, I thought you were a pace merchant. Listen, intelligence galore. Do I have to run it? Put some respect on my name, Keros. Not no pace merchant. Intelligence. Movement. Finishing ability. Je ne sais quoi. Va-va-voom. I'll say no more. Right, let's continue with the press. Oh, in fact, no, not press conference reaction. Let's get back to the super chats. E. Ross, 80 million at least for Ramsdale. English tax. You might get 80 million Jamaican dollars for him. You ain't getting 80 million pounds. I'm sorry. It just ain't happening. Let's go. Simon Paul. Munich wanted Raya. They'll be in for him. If Chelsea want him, they must pay. Yeah, they did want Raya. I think Neuer did his ACL or something. He's nearly back. But he's old now, isn't he? So they'll be looking whether they got the money. Hey, Jay, tell him Curtis IQ is through the roof. Listen. Sometimes you just gotta let the work do the talking. Just let the work do it. I'm far from a pace merchant. You know what I mean? But hey, big up yourself, Keros. I respect it. There's a backhanded compliment in there. You're saying I'm very fast. But the IQ was there. Trust me, it was there. Make sure you smash the likes anyway, people. We'll get back to the waffle shortly. Smelly settings. Ooh, you know Jorge, man. He didn't like that question. Ask him about Ramsdale. He's fuming. And Garbo said Rashford is just slightly better than Walcott. People really don't rate Rashford, do they? I'm quite... I don't know. I wanted Rashford at Arsenal at one stage. It's not happening now. I think Rashford is a very up and down player. You know, you watch him one day, he's a world beater. You watch him the next day, he's just, I don't know. He's become a bit. He almost plays for himself, Rashford now. I still think he's a top player, but I think it's a Man United thing. I got to be honest. What attacking player thrives at Man United? Remember when they compared Martial to Thierry Henry? Well, where did that go? You know what I mean? Anthony, where's he right now? He's on bail, I think. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about Gareth Bale. You know what I mean? I'm talking about HMP. Let me not say too much. YouTube, you know, go easy on me. You got Hoyland, you know, Haaland with a funny name. And you've got, who else they got? They got Jadon Sancho, who's training with the under-23s. So it ain't going too well over there for their attacking players. Do you know what I mean? It's a Man United thing as well. Anyway, let me not say too much anyway. I have to be careful here. Information and entertainment. Let's get back to the waffle. On the Champions League moments from previous seasons and wanting to be part of it, he said, every time I watched it and we weren't there, I felt it. I think you put pressure on yourself. This club has to be in the Champions League. Rash Bandicoot. I like that one. Crash Bandicoot was an elite game growing up, by the way. When I have that job that I have the responsibility to bring the club to the biggest stage, to the biggest tournament. On our journey to the return to the Champions League, I think it's a learning process. When you're looking to achieve, you have to take some lessons. I think we did that and we got better as a team. We did the right things as a squad. Now we are here. I think we fully deserve it. On whether we have something to prove in Europe, he said, every day you have something to prove. Tomorrow I have to prepare. I have to prove that we have prepared the best possible way and that we are giving the players the best possible chance. on stylistic differences between Ramsdale and Raya. It's not something I want to get into. I don't speak about how different Eddie is to Martinelli or Reece. Every player has a different personality. Ooh, feisty one you are. Don't ask Mikel about Ramsdale and Raya. He's a bit touchy with this one, isn't he? I'm telling you, he don't like this one. He does not like the Ramsdale David. Oh dear. Track 12. Differences. The new Aaron Ramsdale diss track by Mikel Arteta featuring David Raya. Don't Ask Me No Questions, produced by Pharrell and Swiss Beats. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. He does not. Why don't just answer the question? Is there a difference? Yeah, they're a bit different. You know, he's better with a button. It's funny. It's quality. This is. He's not happy with this question at all, though, is he? Don't ask him no questions. Man said Jadon Sancho's in a nightclub in New York. Yeah, he went to New York, didn't he? International break. Hey, it is what it is. Would you swap Havertz for Jadon Sancho? Listen, I'd swap Havertz for a Tesco meal deal right now, and I'm not even hungry. So I probably would take Jadon Sancho. At the moment, do you know what I mean? I would genuinely probably take a sandwich, a box of grapes, and a bottle of Evian water right now would be more useful than Kai Havertz until I see something different. So I'd probably, I'd swap it for pretty much anything of use right now, to be honest. So that's where we are with Kai Havertz. There's not a lot I can do with it. But you never know. We might get a half-decent player out of him at some stage. It's got to happen eventually, surely. E. Ross said, Curtis, you were offside on that second goal. Unfortunately, the camera that we used could not get the full camera angle. The right back was playing me onside. So many people have said that. You was offside when you chipped the keeper. Listen, VAR, right back's playing me on. You can say what you want. You can't take anything away from the finish. It was like Ian Wright against Leeds, chipping the keeper. Keeper didn't even move. So good effort. VAR, onside. I've drew the lines. Miles on. So E-Ross, English tax business. Big up yourself, though. No VAR in them leagues, by the way. Anthony said I would 1,000%. Well, that's about 100,000% swap Sancho for Havertz. Goal shy Havertz is our Virgin manager's biggest mistake so far. I'd swap him for some water from McDonald's, says John Lear. You're not wrong. But anyway, let me... I think this could be the end of it. Is it the end? Oh, we're at the end. On PSV, and if he knows Mexican player Lozano. Every player is dangerous at this level. Tomorrow we will have a lot of things that we have to control. I think the main thing is that we focus on ourselves and play at the level we have to play and earn the right to win the game. I told you, this guy, Mikel, he's got politician written all over him. He was asked, do you know the Mexican player Lozano? And at no point in that answer does he say anything about Lozano or knowing him. So he obviously knows who he is, but he doesn't want to talk about him. So don't ask me about Lozano. Track 15, new diss track, Coneman music, featuring AirPod Albert, PSV diss. There you go. End of the mixtape, people. It's top tier waffle, as Dynamite says. It really is. He dodged the whole question. You asked him a question, he didn't even answer it. He answered it without answering it. Young Gunner said, let's not forget, there were fans comparing Sancho and Anthony to our wingers. United is a circus. The Cone Man is letting off a clip at Rambo. I mean, I don't want to talk about Man United too much. I think Man United are in trouble. I don't say that casually either, because I've got no interest in the other clubs doing well. I think Man United are in trouble. I honestly do. Chris said this man makes the best waffles I've ever seen. I think they're in trouble. It's turning into a circus over there. And I've been in, Arsenal fans, we've been in that situation where players are falling out with the manager. Aubameyang's training with the fit and all that. It leads to Ten Hag will either get through that situation and be better for it, or it will be the beginning of the end for him. Because their football is pretty bad at the moment, I think Ten Hag's in trouble there. But listen, let's concentrate on us. I noticed the other day Pod Albert used to be assistant manager of Man United for Van Gaal, was he? I actually didn't know that. In fact, was it him? I know Steve Round, who left. I think he was at Man United with David Moyes as well, because he was with him at Everton. So I think a few of the coaches have gone between Man United and Arsenal before. And our doctor from last year has gone to Man United, and Wan-Bissaka's just pulled his hamstring and out for 2 months. So maybe he's working as an agent for us over there, people. So you never know. But listen, I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. Anyone seen Dallo? I saw him sliding down the high street earlier on. He hasn't been seen since. People, I'm out of here. Thank you very much for tuning in. We've been live for an hour. Excellent show as usual. Tomorrow, 7:45. Is it 7:45 kickoff? I should know. I've waited that long for it. Arsenal is an 8 p.m. kickoff. We'll be live at 7 p.m. 1 hour of build-up. Champions League business. Arsenal against PSV. I'm predicting a victory tomorrow. And I think we'll have too much for them. I don't think their back four will be able to cope with us. And we need to get off to a good start in the Champions League. I want us to win the group and get through comfortably. Make sure you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. 7 p.m. tomorrow. Champions League watch along. Arsenal against PSV. We are back. Take care, everyone. Bless.